What's going on, guys? LSU Recruiting HQ here, back with another episode. We're moving on to part 2 of our LSU football season preview. We're going to be doing the next 4 games, games 5 through 8 for LSU. And we're going to be talking about them, breaking them down, and giving you our predictions. As you guys know, by the time of this video, man, we are under 20 days till kickoff, man. And I can't tell you guys how excited I am to watch this team. Hearing everything out of fall camp, man, everything's going great, it sounds like. Besides the Miles Brennan injury, I'm liking what I'm seeing out of everybody at camp. And just excited, man, to get football back, man. Been watching a little bit of NFL preseason, stuff like that. And, every talk show in America is talking about football right now. So I'm excited to see about that, man. Once again, LSU Recruiting HQ. If you guys haven't already, man, like the video, subscribe to the channel, leave your comments. Let me know what you guys think about LSU and these 4 games, what you think their record's going to be throughout these 4 games and throughout the whole season, man. I love to hear from y'all. Thank you guys for watching. Alright, guys, we're going to jump right into the first game, October 2nd, coming off of Mississippi State, the first conference game. We're going to be playing Auburn, man. That's going to be a wild game. It is every single year, except for last year. Last year, obviously not the greatest of games. Wouldn't go back and watch that and put that one in the archives. We're going to just throw that one out. LSU, man, got beat down last year on the Plains. This year, LSU gets Auburn at home this year. And I don't know if y'all been keeping up with Auburn, but Auburn got so many new faces that I couldn't even keep track of them. I mean, you got Derek Mason in at defensive coordinator, you got Mike Bobo in at offensive coordinator, and a new head coach. So, I mean, nobody really knows a lot about this team, and that's kind of what's scary about it, There's not a lot of expectations this first year for this guy. Personally, this could be a dangerous game for LSU, man. If they walk into Tiger Stadium sleeping on this Auburn team still has talent, man. And returning Bo Nix, Bo Nix obviously hasn't been the most consistent quarterback, but we seen last year what he can do when he's at his best. So it's not one of these games where, I would be overly confident that LSU would win by double digits. It'd probably be one of these games where it's kind of a dogfight through the first couple quarters, and maybe LSU pulls away late and stuff like that. But like I said, going through this Auburn team, looking at all the new faces, man, you really just can't put a finger on one thing we don't even know what kind of offense they're going to be running, if they're going to be heavy run dependent, or are they going to let Bo Nix start airing it out more. This is a very young team. The strength of this Auburn team's always been like defensive line, stuff like that, running backs, and it's all new faces this year. You're bringing back a couple running backs, all new wide receiving core, transferring from Georgia, playing wide receiver. What I'm hearing, looking on their 24/7 pages, they're really liking that connection between him and Bo Nix. So that's something to definitely keep an eye out for if they can get a solid number 1 receiver to follow in the footsteps of Sammy Coates. And that defensive line, there's a lot of young guys, but all I'm hearing is there's a lot of potential out there. A lot of rotating means a lot of people are playing, means you're going to find some new faces. Maybe this is being the 5th game in, Auburn's team isn't going to look the same as it did week 1 when they play Akron. So if you're paying attention to what's going on with Auburn, keeping up with them, and maybe they drop the game to Penn State early in the season, they play them week 3, it's going to be a completely different team by the time LSU faces them, and they're rolling in conference play, and they pretty much establish their identity and know what they're going to get out of them every single week. Like I said, it's a dangerous game for LSU if their head's not on straight, and they can definitely slip up and drop one right here, but I got a feeling that LSU is going to be in 0-30 mode until we get middle of the season, and it is going to be all pedal to the metal with as far as this offense and this defense, man. They got a point to prove this year, and I don't think focus is going to be an issue. If they lose this year, it's because a team just flat out beat them. It's not going to be because they weren't prepared or they weren't focused ready going into the game. So that's the thing I'm most excited to see from LSU's side. And, you know, we're talking in week 5 here. We're going to be going through 4 games: UCLA, McNeese, Central Michigan, and Mississippi State. Those 4 games, it's kind of the same thing with Auburn, you know. Everything I'm hearing out of camp is these young guys are proving that they belong and they could easily get into this rotation. So we might have this UCLA game and you might see all these people playing, and then by the time we get to this Auburn game, we're going to be talking about other guys, true freshmen, Malik Neighbors, Brian Thomas, Jack Beck, and it's going to be just a whole household of names that you hadn't been really talking about in the preseason, but as the season got on, those guys started getting more playing time, and it's going to be hard to keep them off the field at that point. So that's what I'm most looking forward to. If I had to put a score on it right now, I'd probably say LSU probably wins this game 31-20, in that range, somewhere like that. Could possibly get to double digits. Like I said, having a experienced quarterback in the SEC is never a bad thing. Bo Nix has been here, done that, so he's going to know what to expect, and the coaching staff, as far as coordinators goes, knows what it's like in the SEC, so they're going to be prepared. Most likely, Auburn's going to be coming into this game with a loss already, if they shock Penn State at Penn State. I mean, that'll just build the hype up around this game even more. We always know that LSU and Auburn is a classic rivalry game, and can't wait to watch it this year. It's going to be no different than any of the other years. All right, next game we're going to talk about. This game right here puts fear in my heart, personally. As y'all know, LSU ain't been to Kentucky since 2007, man. And I remember watching this game as a kid, the 2007 game. Remember watching this game as a kid, man, just in disbelief that my LSU Tigers could lose to a team like Kentucky. But boy, did it happen. And this is the first time LSU is going back to Lexington. We all know wild stuff happens in Kentucky. But I mean, this game right here is a scary game. This is one of the games where you look at LSU's schedule and it's like, hey, this might be the game they slip up, you know. And if they're not focused, and if they're not ready to go play on the road against a good Kentucky team, we can't sit here and say that Kentucky's the bottom tier team anymore. They're right there in the middle of the pack. I think they're one player away, if they can ever get a quarterback that can lead that team. Just heard the news a couple days ago that Joey Gatewood, the Auburn transfer that they brought in, was looking like he was going to be the starter, and now all of a sudden he's transferring. So I think Mark Stoops knows what he's got. All right, he knows his system. He knows what his strengths are, what his weaknesses are, and that's what's made him a great coach in the SEC for so long. And a team that a lot of people fear, as far as, you know, this is a game we can't take lightly, you know. And it's the same way with LSU. LSU could, in my prediction, will be 5-0 at this point in time going into Kentucky. I haven't looked at Kentucky's schedule, but I'm sure they won't have too many losses either. They probably play Florida. Maybe drop one there, maybe not. If they find a way to beat Florida, I mean, who knows what we're looking at? We could be looking at 2 undefeated teams, 3:30 CBS game type stuff. And like I said, man, this game scares me a lot because Kentucky is so well coached that they're not gonna make mistakes, and they're not gonna beat themselves down, and they're just gonna hang around. And if LSU has a game where then they're -3, -2 even on turnover margin or something like that, you know, they could very well be in this game to the very end of the fourth quarter. And that's kind of what I'm expecting, honestly. I expect LSU to, you know, be coming off hot, you know, this Auburn win, feeling good, you know, coming into Kentucky, looking forward to maybe next week. You're playing Florida, excited about that. And then, you know, Kentucky comes in there and just starts, you know, pounding the ball, and they just make life difficult for other teams, man. And they're gonna hit you with the old Les Miles, man. They're gonna run it, and if you can't stop it, you're in for a long day, because they're gonna wear you out. So, predictions for this game, probably gonna be a kind of a defensive struggle, I would think. Gonna be more in that 27 to 24, 23 range. I think LSU squeaks by, but man, it is not going to be an easy game. It is going to be stressful down to the wire. This is one of the games where, I'm thinking 60-40% LSU wins. Easily, like I said, if LSU's turning the ball over and looks sloppy in the first half of this game and gets down a couple points, that could easily turn into something bad happening in Lexington again. So definitely a game to circle on your calendar and make sure LSU's uh, focused and ready to go for this one. This will be game 6. So as of right now, I have LSU 6-0, win over Kentucky, win over Auburn, win over Mississippi State. Heading into Florida, big game. Always is, man. This has become one of my favorite rivalries in the SEC every year. We're not like all those other teams in the West that play, Tennessee in the third Saturday of October every year. We don't get that luxury. We get to play one of the best teams in the East every single year, and every single year the game lives up to the hype, man. You can't beat what happened last year and what happened in 2019 and even 2018, man. Those are classic games in the SEC that you're going to remember for a long time. It's always one of my favorite games. I'm actually looking forward to maybe going this year to Tiger Stadium and watching this game. So we'll see how that goes. But yeah, man, this Florida team is absolutely loaded with talent. They are every year. The defensive line returning Britton Cox, and two other starters. I mean Florida's always been known for the defensive line, and it shouldn't be the same thing this year. The things that concern me with Florida are definitely going to be Emory Jones playing quarterback, replacing all these receivers, replacing guys like Kyle Pitts. Man, these guys just don't grow on trees. Kavarius Tony, like these guys just don't grow on trees, and they're gonna be tough to replace. There's no doubt about that. And I do think Florida's gonna struggle early. I see that Kentucky game on their schedule, man, and I just look at that game and I say, man, they could easily lose that game. So it's one of those things, and that defense, the secondary, Elam's back at corner, so you have an established veteran at cornerback. But other than that, man, it's young, and they weren't very good last year. So hopefully, for their sake, they can get things going on defense and kind of let that feed into the offense, because you're returning running backs, you're returning a decent offensive line, but you're replacing quarterbacks and all these talented wide receivers that really made up your whole team last year. So how does Dan Mullen adjust to that? In my opinion, he's the best in-game play caller besides Lane Kiffin that I can think of. He's the best game day coach I've seen in a while, and Florida's lucky to have him, really. So I expect a lot from Florida as far as being able, they give LSU a fight no matter what, just like LSU gives them a fight, just like last year. Odds were stacked against LSU, but LSU just stayed in the game all game and found a way at the end. So that's kind of how this game's going to go, man. It's going to be a dog fight. But I also think this is the game. This is the game on LSU's schedule where I'm like, all right, this is their coming out party. This is where they're going to determine to me if they're going to be here or they're going to be here. Starting 6-0 is great, but we're getting into the meat of this SEC schedule, and there's no more cupcakes or anything like that coming down the schedule. It's all big time opponents. So, and this is really kind of like the kickoff party for finishing the season. Now we're halfway through the big game in Tiger Stadium. I think that gives LSU a bonus, but man, I think LSU rolls in this one. I really do. I think Florida's at this point still figuring things out. Maybe Emory Jones hasn't started clicking yet and needs a little bit more time. But I think coming into LSU, full stadium, hopefully, things will be looking up for the Tigers in this game. And I got them winning pretty big, 38-21, something like that. A pretty convincing win. And I think this is kind of like the statement game for LSU that says, all right, y'all know LSU is back, all right, and last year is no more. And this is the LSU team that you're going to get from here on out. So that's what I'm looking for most of this game. I think LSU uses it to take that catapult leap into one of the top tier teams in the SEC this year. All right, guys, last game I'm going to talk about, and I don't want to bring it up to y'all, but It's not looking good. I'm not feeling the vibes on this one. So October 23rd, LSU taking on Ole Miss at Ole Miss. Man, if you look at the history of this series, there's been years where LSU has been just dominant, right? And every year the Ole Miss is just a thorn in their side. And it's no different now. Lane Kiffin has got things going in Oxford with this offense and firepower. Matt Corral's coming back. Arguably, you can argue he's the best quarterback in the SEC, and he's returning. And a lot of people, look at the schedule and they say, man, Alabama's the scariest team. No, this Ole Miss team is the scariest team that a lot of teams in the SEC are going to face this year. You don't return the kind of firepower they have on offense and just think you're going to walk in there and, their defense, if they improved at all, I mean, this is top 15 team. If their defense can stop anybody, this is the top 15 team. Mark my words, top 15 now. We're talking New Year's Six bowl game type appearance, coming from Ole Miss, and that's kind of the season I'm expecting from them. I think their defense has improved. Do I know that for sure? No, but I'm into the. I'm not into the see it before I believe it. I'm believing the hype out of Ole Miss camp, and I'm looking at all the reports, and it's like, all right, this defense really doesn't have to do much, right? They just got to be a little bit better. And I think this is the first game LSU slips up and loses. I'm sitting here. LSU sitting here at 7-1, loses to Ole Miss. This is gonna be the trap game, man. This is it. I mean, this is the game on the schedule where I'm like, this is LSU's slip up. This is what is gonna stop them from being a playoff contender. I think this year, personally, but you never know. Could make up for things the next week, but like I said, this is going to be the attention getter. All the momentum's going to be on LSU's side. Nobody's going to be really talking about Ole Miss. You're going to be going into a dangerous environment. Ole Miss has been a problem for LSU in history, and I think it's no different this year, man. The points total from last year was ridiculous. I think it's going to be similar to that kind of game, maybe a little bit lower scoring. But I think Ole Miss, wins this game maybe on like a game-winning field goal, game-winning touchdown drive, something, one possession. I just think this is a game LSU slips up, and it was between this game and the Kentucky game where I was like, if LSU's going to go 10-2 this year, like I think, it was either going to be the Kentucky or the Ole Miss game, and I chose the Ole Miss game just based off of what I seen last year and what I'm looking forward to seeing this year. Full stadium in Oxford. Defense is going to be a lot better. Quarterback still the same weapons on offense. You get rid of Elijah Moore, but and it's just a recipe for disaster, I think, for LSU. And a lot of fans are going to not like that I'm predicting them to lose it all, but I'm a realist, so I'm looking at this game, and I think this is probably their second toughest game on their schedule besides the Alabama game. So that being said, final score prediction, I'm going to say 41-38. Big time, high scoring game, and I'd say LSU drops to 7-1 on the season. Alright guys, man, we rolled through the middle of the schedule, man. Games 5 through 8, I had LSU going 3-1 and then 7-1 overall. Coming up on the bye week, the next episode is going to be wild, man, because y'all all know what the end of the schedule means. We got Alabama bye week, stuff like that coming up. Next and final part of the LSU season football preview. I can't wait to do this and talk about what I think LSU is going to be for the whole season and talk about the whole season in general. If you guys watched this video, man, and you liked it, man, make sure you like and subscribe to the channel. I can't thank you guys enough, man. I never thought that I'd be doing these videos and have over 100 subscribers on YouTube and getting over 1,000 views every video, and it's been so great to have you guys supporting me. And if you haven't yet already, check me out on Twitter, Instagram, and stay up to date with all the recruiting news that's coming. With high school football season kicking off soon. And once again, man, thank you guys, and thank you guys for watching. Appreciate it.